It was supposed to be just another quiet afternoon at the diner, the kind of place where regulars sip coffee and the jukebox hums in the background. But everything changed when a group of loud bikers rolled in, turning heads the moment they walked through the door. Leather jackets, heavy boots, and a swagger that made it clear they thought they ran the place. Most people looked away, not wanting trouble. But at one corner booth, a boy, probably no older than 16, sat alone, calmly finishing his lunch. He didn't flinch when the bikers passed, didn't even glance up. That quiet confidence, it caught their attention. At first, it started with a few jokes, the kind meant to get a reaction. A little push, a sarcastic comment. But the boy stayed cool. Too cool. One of the bikers didn't like that. He got closer, leaning in, trying to make the boy flinch. But still, nothing. No fear, no backing down. Just a quiet stare that made everyone uneasy, even some of the bikers. Who was this kid? Why wasn't he scared? That's when things took a turn nobody expected. What happened next had the entire restaurant frozen, watching every move like a scene from a movie. This wasn't just some shy kid eating lunch. There was more to him, a lot more. And just when it looked like the situation was about to explode, he stood up. What he did next, you won't believe it. He stood up slowly, not in a rush, not angry, just calm. Too calm. The diner, once filled with clinking silverware and low chatter, went silent. Even the waitress behind the counter stopped mid-pour. The boy adjusted his hoodie, looked the lead biker straight in the eyes, and said something so quietly that no one could quite hear it. But whatever it was, it made the biker pause. Just for a second. That pause said everything. Now everyone in the restaurant was watching. The other bikers, still trying to look tough, exchanged confused glances. They had dealt with all kinds of people before, loudmouths, hotheads, even a few who tried to act brave. But this boy wasn't acting. He didn't puff his chest or throw out threats. He just stood there with a look that said he'd seen worse. One of the older men at the counter whispered to the guy next to him, "I think I've seen that kid before, but not around here." That only made the room more tense. Who was he? A runaway? A local with a story no one knew? Or something else entirely? The lead biker laughed, trying to shake off the weird energy, but his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. "You got a problem, kid," he said, stepping in closer. But the boy didn't back away. Instead, he reached into his backpack, not fast, not threatening, just steady. The whole diner held its breath. What was he reaching for? Why did the room suddenly feel colder? And then he pulled it out. Out of the backpack, the boy pulled a small, worn notebook. No weapons, no dramatic move, just that. He placed it gently on the table and flipped it open, as if the biker wasn't even standing there. That only made things weirder. The lead biker chuckled nervously, glancing back at his crew like he needed backup. "What's that? Your diary?" he asked, trying to get a laugh, but none of the other bikers responded. They were watching too closely now, sensing something off. The boy didn't say a word. He slid the notebook toward the edge of the table, where one of the pages had a photo tucked into it. A black and white picture, faded and creased at the corners. The lead biker glanced at it, and suddenly went quiet. His face changed. Not scared exactly, but stunned. His mouth opened like he was going to say something, then shut again. He didn't touch the notebook. In the back of the diner, a man in a baseball cap lowered his newspaper just enough to see. He wasn't part of the staff, no coffee, no plate. He'd been sitting there the whole time, observing. When the photo came out, he shifted in his seat, eyes narrowing. There was something about that picture, something that connected more people in the room than anyone realized. The bikers started to whisper among themselves. One of them, younger, leaned over to the leader and said, "Is that who I think it is?" The leader didn't answer. He just stared at the kid. The silence around that table was loud enough to drown out everything else. The picture in the notebook, it meant something. Not just to the biker, but to a few others who had been pretending not to watch. The waitress behind the counter tightened her grip on the coffee pot. The man in the baseball cap slowly folded his paper and set it down. He was fully focused now. The lead biker finally spoke, his voice lower this time. "Where did you get that?" His tone wasn't mocking anymore. It was serious. The boy still didn't answer. He flipped to another page in the notebook, revealing more photographs. A group shot. Military uniforms. One face circled in red. The same man now standing inches from him, with the leather jacket and loud entrance. He wasn't laughing now. One of the bikers muttered, "That was years ago. It can't be." Another one backed away slightly, eyes darting between the kid and the exit. Whatever this boy knew, whatever that notebook held, it wasn't just about a photo. It was about their past, something they thought was buried. The man in the cap finally stood up. Slowly, carefully, he walked toward the table like he knew exactly what was coming. "Kid," he said, "you sure you want to do this here?" The boy looked at him for the first time. Calm, steady. They chose the place, not me. Every eye was locked on that table now. No one moved. No one dared breathe. And then, someone opened the diner door. The bell above the diner door jingled softly as it swung open. Everyone turned. A woman stepped in, mid-30s, sharp eyes, confident stride. She wasn't dressed like a biker, but she walked with purpose. Her eyes scanned the room, landed on the boy, then flicked to the notebook on the table. That's when things shifted again. The boy's expression, steady until now, tightened just slightly. The lead biker stiffened. He clearly recognized her. She didn't say a word at first, just walked straight over and stood beside the boy like she belonged there. "You started without me," she said, voice low but clear. The boy nodded. They were getting impatient. The woman turned to the lead biker and tapped the photo gently with her finger. "You remember this day, don't you?" Her voice had an edge now. "You told everyone it was handled, that there'd be no loose ends." She glanced around the room, her eyes locking briefly with the man in the cap, then back to the bikers. "Well, turns out there were a few." Whispers started up again. One of the bikers backed away completely and muttered something about needing to use the restroom. Another pulled out his phone, hands shaking slightly. The tension was no longer just between the boy and the gang. It was spreading. Old lies, old secrets were surfacing fast. The boy opened a new page in the notebook. This one wasn't a photo, it was a list. A list of names. And the next name was already circled. The room felt like it was holding its breath. The boy turned the notebook so the list of names faced the lead biker. The circled one, * Rick Dalton *, matched the patch stitched on his jacket. The woman beside the boy leaned in. "You remember what happened to the others on this list? 2 are gone. One's in hiding. And now / here we are." Rick's face went pale. "I didn't know," he muttered, almost to himself. "We were told it was over. We didn't mean for it to go that far." "You didn't know," the boy said quietly, finally speaking with weight. "You were their *." Suddenly, the man in the baseball cap stepped forward, flashing a badge. "That's enough, FBI. This place is wired. Everyone sit down." Gasps followed, and for a moment it was chaos. Chairs scraping, voices rising. But the boy stayed calm, notebook still in hand. The woman nodded, stepping back. Rick didn't fight. His hands went up as 2 plainclothes agents emerged from a nearby booth. One by one, the remaining bikers were ushered out, the weight of years of secrets crashing down all at once. As Rick was being led away, he looked over his shoulder. "Who *? You?" The boy didn't answer right away. He closed the notebook, then finally said, "My dad was on that mission. You left him behind." Everyone thought that was the end, justice served. But as the woman and boy walked out, the camera on the FBI agent's chest blinked red. Someone else had been watching all along. The boy and the woman stepped out into the fading sunlight, the diner doors swinging closed behind them. For the first time that day, the street felt quiet. The tension, the weight of everything that had built up, started to settle. The boy looked up at her, finally letting out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. "Do you think they'll all talk now?" he asked. She nodded. "They don't have a choice anymore. The truth's out." Inside the diner, the FBI agents finished gathering the last bits of evidence. The man in the baseball cap gave one final look at the notebook before slipping it into an evidence bag. "Smart kid," he muttered. "Too smart for them." Outside, the boy zipped up his backpack, the one that had carried so much more than just paper and photos. Years of questions, of silence, of wanting answers, finally led to this. He didn't need revenge. He needed the truth, and now he had it. As they walked down the sidewalk, passing quiet shops and parked bikes that would never ride the same again, the boy turned to the woman. "Do you think he'd be proud?" She paused, then smiled gently. "I know he would." Back inside the diner, the blinking red light on the agent's camera shut off. Somewhere far away, on another screen, someone else watched the feed go dark. They leaned back, cracked a small smile, and whispered, "Looks like the game just changed." But for the boy, it was finally over.